In these videos, we're going to look at creating a quiz. The focus of this quiz will be a mathematical quiz because the questions will be nice and easy to show you in the video. And I'll also create a second video where we'll look at adding scores. So the first video will be the basic setting up of the quiz, and then we'll get into a bit more complicated things for the second video. For this quiz, we're going to be using a lot of the blocks that you've seen before and some new ones. We're also going to be using some if-else statements, which are new, and also looking at something called a variable, which we'll explain when we get to. So firstly, for my quiz, I need to think about what I want to do. So I'm going to pretty much state that when I click the green flag, I want my sprite or my cat to ask a couple of questions, and I want the user to be able to type in the answer. And when they type in the answer, the cat's going to tell them, did they get the answer right or did they get the answer wrong? So that's the plan for my quiz. So firstly, I'm going to stick with the cat sprite. You can change it if you want. And I'm going to drag out my green flag, so when green flag clicked, to get everything rolling. So to start with, I'm going to go to my looks and I'm going to say hello and welcome people to my quiz. So welcome to my quiz for 2 seconds. So when I click the green flag, my cat or my sprite will welcome everyone to the quiz. Okay, so next I'm going to go to what we call the sensing blocks, and we haven't used these yet. So if you think of your senses, sight, sound, things like that, this is listening for something or asking something. So what we want to do is we want to ask a question. So I'm going to drag in my ask block. And this is where I'm going to set up my question. So I want to do a maths quiz. I'm going to ask a very simple question. Ask 2 plus 2, or you might say what is 2 plus 2 and wait. So this is where it gets a little bit more difficult. Now we need to determine how do we get the answer. So I'm going to go back up to control and I'm going to go down to this command block here, if else. And if you remember back to your reading, here we're figuring out, well, if this happens, do this, else, if this happens, do this. So in the booklet we had things like, if I study hard, I will get better marks, else I will get less marks. So I'm making a selection criteria here. So what I need to do is I need to say, if the answer equals 4, well, you are correct. If the answer equals anything else but 4, well, you are incorrect. So how do we do that? We're going to use another new block. I'm going to go to operators, which is the green one. And for operators, I'm going to say the answer must equal something. So I'm going to drag out this little equals box. So something must equal something. And I'm going to drag that for my if. So what I'm going to say here is, if the answer equals 4, we are right. If the answer doesn't equal 4, then we are wrong. So let's set that up. I'm going to go back to my sensing because I want to sense for the answer, and I'm going to find my answer block. So I'm going to say if the answer and drag that to that first little section of the green. So if the answer equals 4, because 2 plus 2 is 4. So here I'm saying if the answer equals 4, I want to say you are correct. So I'm going to go back to looks and say correct for 2 seconds. Else, so if the answer isn't 4, else I'm going to say incorrect for 2 seconds. And I'm going to connect those blocks together. So let's run through that. When the green flag is clicked, I'm going to say welcome to my quiz and ask you a question. What is 2 plus 2? If your answer equals 4, then I am going to say you are correct. Else, so if your answer is anything else but 4, I'm going to say incorrect. I mentioned the word variable at the beginning. In this block of code, the 4 is a variable. A variable is a storage or a container. So we're containing the number 4. So when I type in my answer, the computer already knows that it is listening out for 4 because that's what it's storing. So let's look at that in action. I'm going to press the green flag. Welcome to my quiz. What is 2 plus 2? And you'll notice down here I am able to type in an answer. If I type in 4 and tick, I am correct. If I run that again and I type in an answer that is not 4, say 5, I am incorrect. So what I want you to do is I want you to pause the video and I want you to add in a second block of code underneath asking a second question. So press pause, add in your second block, and when you press play again on the video, I'll put a second block in and you'll see what it should look like. Okay, so you'll see I've added in a second question, similar to the first, just asking what is 10 plus 10. If my answer equals 20, you're correct. If it's anything else, it is incorrect. So quickly we'll run through that and we'll get 2 questions now. So 4 is correct, and 10 plus 10 is 2. That is incorrect. So that there is setting up a very basic question and answer quiz. You can ask any question. You might ask, what is the capital of Australia? And you would be able to type in your answer as a word. So you can set up a quiz any way you like. You could add a background, you could add 2 sprites, so somebody asking the question, somebody answering. You could have it like a game show. What we're going to do in the second video is we're going to add scoring. So every time you get a question correct, we will add some scoring in. And that will be on the video preceding this one.